Hi everybody, welcome on into Brad Cesmat's Spring Training AZ. I'm Jordan Ham here at Salt River Fields, and honestly, Arizona is just showing off right now. Incredible weather, incredible baseball, and we have so much for you over the next half hour. On tonight's show, we have Jordan Spurgeon with Alden Gonzalez, ESPN reporter, talking all things, the big storylines of the offseason. Brad Cesmat goes to Queen Creek Olive Mill, and of course we have Eats with Eliav, and Claudia Collins goes on the rocks. And let's kick things off with a national perspective with Alden Gonzalez.
Here with Alden Gonzalez, ESPN MLB insider. And Alden, you are here. You've had 10 days so far at the Cactus League. You've been around to a lot of the different teams. What's it been like for you so far?
It's been a lot of fun. I've probably no surprise to many people who know me. I've been at Dodgers a lot. They have a lot going on, and every morning I ask myself, like, where should I go? And oftentimes the answer is just go to Dodgers camp because they have signed basically every player. I try to fight that urge often, though. I've been jumping around the camps as much as I can. I try to see as many teams as I can in the window that I'm here. It's always a great time of year. I love this time of year.
And it's crazy with the Dodgers. For those that don't know, I learned this last year when they signed Ohtani. Even the media space, they have parking lot access when games come around because there's so many media members that want to be there because, again, not just Ohtani, but all the stars they have. What have you seen out of Dodgers camp so far this year?
It's been interesting. A lot of the talk around the Dodgers has been about dynasty building, about potentially setting a new record for most wins ever, which was 116. And that's just the hype that surrounds them now. That's what happens when you win a World Series, when you have Ohtani, when you spend as much money as they've spent the last two off seasons. But what I've seen from them, honestly, and I know this might sound cliche, but they're as hungry as ever. That's the word from all of their players, and I think it's a very real thing. I think the players sense within them a very real opportunity to do something special, and I think they don't want to take it for granted. They want to take advantage of it as much as they can. They've also brought in a lot of new players, star players who have never won championships before. I think that's created something of an edge, an energy around them, and I think their big thing is not to get complacent. They want to see how long this run lasts, and I think their headspace is really in the right place right now.
Outside of the Dodgers and what you've seen so far, what are some other storylines or camp battles or players that you're really focusing in on right now?
There's a lot, I was just at Padres camp, and, it's a very interesting time with their franchise where they're still trying to win a World Series, win the first World Series ever in San Diego history. They got so close. They were right there with the Dodgers, and, they couldn't spend like them. So they're going to have camp battles everywhere, whether it's in left field, at DH, in their fourth and fifth rotation spots maybe. They got a lot of young starting pitchers in their bullpen as well. That's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of great up-and-coming prospects that have a chance to win spots. Jordan Lawler will actually with the Diamondbacks was somebody that I was targeting, but then Geraldo Perdomo signed an extension, so I think he's kind of locked into shortstop there. But, somebody like, for example, veteran guys like a Christian Yelich, right, finally had back surgery, was having such a great year last year, thinks that this is going to help him long term. I'm really curious to see what he looks like. I think you could go around to every camp and you will find something really interesting to focus on during spring training.
One storyline that I saw that you were pretty much in on the ground on was Mike Trout moving to right field and trying to have a healthy season. He hasn't had that in a while. You've had a chance to talk with him. How's he doing? Where's his mindset at right now?
His mindset is to play, and he's gotten to this point because it's been years and years of injury setback, years and years of frustration. If you remember, it was like 3 years ago that Joe Madden, who was the Angels manager at the time, said that they would think about maybe moving Mike Trout off center field. He did that before consulting with Mike Trout. It created a mess throughout the organization. Mike Trout was not ready to move out of center field at that moment. But what followed was more injury, and especially last year. He had a tear in the meniscus in his left knee. He thought he was going to come back after a certain time, had another setback, didn't play beyond April. And when you're Mike Trout and when you realize that you have the potential still to be one of the best offensive forces in the game, you just want to be on the field. I think he's come to the realization that not playing center field, not consistently cutting left and right, not constantly backing up left and right fielders throughout a game, that might help preserve his body. Not all of his injuries, maybe none of his injuries, have been directly tied to center field, but just eliminating the wear and tear of such a demanding position, I think is going to help.
I think the most interesting division that most of the teams are out here for me is the NL Central, and just seeing what's going to happen there. You've got the Cubs, the Brewers, the Reds with Terry Francona now. When you look at some of those teams, what are some of the things that you're looking at right now?
You asked me earlier about just sort of what stands out in terms of competitions in spring training. The Reds infield. They have such an excess of infielders where you kind of take a step back and you wonder, like, where are all these guys going to play? And, I mean, I think you're right. I think the NL Central, maybe the AL Central as well. I mean, those are two completely wide open divisions. The Cubs set it up that way, right? Like, they had a chance to go sign an Alex Bregman, go over the top because their revenues are greater than all four of the other teams, and they chose not to do that. And so it's wide open now between the Cubs and not the Cardinals, but the Cubs, maybe the Pirates. The Brewers are definitely in the mix. The Reds are definitely in the mix. I think that's going to end up being maybe the most top-to-down competitive division in baseball.
Keeping it locally here with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and you've had some time out at Salt River Fields. We just saw Perdomo sign an extension. Obviously, Corbin Burns in the offseason, the big move. What do you make of the Arizona Diamondbacks and what they're trying to build chasing the Dodgers this year?
I love what they're doing. They're a smaller market team. It could be very easy for them to say, that's the Dodgers over there. We can't compete with that. We can't spend at their levels. But they've made it clear for the last few years that they're not going to back down from them, right? Like, this is a team that wasn't anywhere near as good as the team that's on the field right now that got to the World Series 2 years ago. And they've doubled down on that. And they don't have the revenue stream. They don't even have a local media deal right now. And they go out and get a Corbin Burns. They extend Perdomo. They gave Corbin Carroll that big contract a few years ago. They're going for it. And look, I expect the Dodgers to win the National League West. I mean, they've gone through so many injuries through the years and still won that division. But the Diamondbacks are a perfect example of getting into the playoffs. Get into the playoffs, be clicking at the right time, be healthy, and you can make a nice long run. And I think that's how they look at it, and I give them all the credit in the world. They're a fun team. Their offense is dynamic when Corbin Carroll is going right. Their rotation is going to be really deep. We'll see about the bullpen, but I love what they've put together.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to On the Rocks. I'm your trail guide, Claudia Collins, and I'm taking you along for my adventures as I check hikes, waterfalls, and other outdoor activities off of my Arizona bucket list. Today we're going to the Tonto Natural Bridge State Park in Pine, Arizona. The hike to the Natural Bridge is 1.4 miles long with 291 feet of elevation gain, and it's rated difficult. The Tonto Natural Bridge has been on my bucket list for so long, and today just felt like the perfect day to do it. It's getting a little bit hot in Phoenix, and I just wanted to get away. So what better time to come and explore this out in Payson, Arizona? The park rangers advised that we take the Gowan Trail counterclockwise for the best overall experience. Combined with the other trails, I expected this would be an easy little trek. I love coming up to the Payson area during the summer because it's the ideal escape and it's just so green and lush out here. The Natural Bridge has been on my bucket list since moving back to Arizona. I can already hear the water. However, it's not pet friendly, so we had to leave Mia behind today, but I'm sure she'll understand. The decline down gave me a glimpse of how steep this trail may actually feel at times, but the views were already immaculate. As we descended, I started to hear the water close by, and I was already able to see the Natural Bridge from the distance. This first part of the trail is so serene and doesn't feel like we're only an hour and a half away from the hustle and bustle of downtown Phoenix. As we approach the Natural Bridge, we also approach a not-so-natural bridge. Before climbing up the steps, I decided to enjoy the shade and cool creek down below. Now we head up the steps to get a closer look at the bridge and make our way under it. But first, it's time for some really fun facts. The Tonto Natural Bridge is the largest known travertine bridge in the world. Depending on the time of year, you may catch the beautiful light waterfall too. The Natural Bridge sits at 183 feet high over a 400-foot long tunnel, meaning there is a lot of space for some fun exploration down below, which is exactly what we came here for. I was stunned when I first laid eyes on the Natural Bridge and made my way into the tunnel. No picture or video I'd seen of the bridge had ever done it justice. When I first thought about doing this hike, I was thinking, how can a 1.5 mile hike be rated hard? But honestly, it's pretty steep and pretty slippery. But there's some awesome places to swim on the south side. Really like the bridge overlooking the Natural Bridge. And the Natural Bridge offers some amazing shade. You can feel the water spraying on you and cooling you down. And I think I'm just gonna sit here and enjoy it for a little bit. One of the things I didn't anticipate at all was feeling like I was in a light rain shower. Throughout the tunnel, you could feel the misty drops of water falling from the bridge. All of this was unlike anything I'd ever experienced before, and I've hiked a lot, so that's really saying something. As you climb through the tunnel, there's various pools of water with some really beautiful and shiny rocks that are also very slippery, so take your time as you climb around. And follow the arrows to make sure you're not accidentally entering any restricted areas. And see what I mean? I'm in a tunnel and it's raining. The sound of rushing water was very calming, and I found myself wanting to sit around in different spots instead of quickly hiking through. The park was very busy this Saturday morning, but I found that everyone was very respectful. So as a reminder, make sure to leave no trace on every hike you do. Although some areas below the bridge have deep pools of water, visitors are not permitted to do any swimming under the bridge, as tempting as it may look. But the water is really cold anyways. The final stretch leaving the tunnel was very slick and steep. I was taking my sweet time being as careful as possible. But once I made it out of the bridge, I knew there was still a little bit more climbing to do. My final thoughts on this hike as we approach the end: it's worth every cent. And by that I mean the $7 per person it costs to get into the park. I think I could have spent all day here, but I had empanadas from Pie Bar down the street in Strawberry on my mind. The final incline had me earning those empanadas too. And here we are at the end of the trail.
This was more of a workout than I thought it would be, but it's definitely worth coming out to this area, buying a day pass, and coming out and enjoying the Tonto Natural Bridge.
Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time on The Rocks.
Coming up, Brad Cesmat at Queen Creek Olive Mill and Eats with Eliav at Saddle Mountain Brewing.
When I started to compete, they told me I should stop. When I came in dead last, they told me I should stop. When colleges didn't recruit me, they told me I should stop. What they didn't know is that I am unstoppable.
CAA champion, Anthony Rowe.
Let us help you be unstoppable with your financial goals at desertfinancial.com.
Nothing brings people and families together faster than sharing food. Great friends, memories, and good times. For over 2 generations, Valle Luna has served you the food that brought you together, and we've been proud to do so. We're fortunate to have been a part of so many stories, gatherings, and traditions that continue on today and will tomorrow. Start a tradition of your own. Come taste authentic Sonoran-style food with your family and friends here with us at Valle Luna.
The Valley of the Sun will roar to life this spring.
This ought to get pretty wild here.
Why is that, you may ask? Because NASCAR is coming to Phoenix, and it's going to be a weekend of good vibes the whole family won't forget. The best-in-class fan experience meets racing's toughest drivers for 3 days of action on and off the track, all surrounded by the beautiful Estrella Mountains.
Oh yeah, baby, let's go!
Get your tickets now at phoenixraceway.com.
Let's talk about Venezia's Pizzeria, New York-style pizza. Oh man, this looks so good. Pizza doughs made fresh daily, wings, subs, sandwiches, pasta. They cater, they deliver. They have 5 Valley locations. Venezia's New York-style Pizzeria.
The Valley of the Sun will roar to life this spring. Why is that, you may ask? Because NASCAR is coming to Phoenix, and it's going to be a weekend of good vibes the whole family won't forget.
Let's go!
Get your tickets now at phoenixraceway.com.
So when people are done with the game, or they have a day off from the game, and they come here to Queen Creek, and they stop in at the olive mill, what is the experience going to be like for them?
Well, you know, when you come to the olive mill, it is an experience, and we create an experience. So you can come here, you know, we roast our own coffee. If you want to come for the breakfast time, you know, we open at 8. You can have breakfast, you can take a tour. Gosh, you can stay for lunch, you know, grab a bottle of wine, sit under an olive tree. You know, the nice thing about coming here is it's just, you're not going to run inside, grab a bottle of olive oil and leave. You know, you're going to, this is a destination. You're 45 minutes from Phoenix, but you know, you're probably, half an hour from Mesa.
On the menu, walk us through the menu. What are some of the items that you say, if you come to the olive mill here in Queen Creek, you got to do this, Brad?
Yeah, we mean, our breakfast offering, first of all of our pastries are done in-house. Coffee roasted in-house. But then you go into lunch, you know, we have one sandwich in particular called the Kalamata sandwich, which was featured on the Food Network, on The Best Thing I Ever Ate. That's a really good Italian-style sandwich. And then, you know, we have a whole list of wines. You can buy a bottle of wine, cork it, and sit out in the grove. Craft beers from, you know, local breweries, even our brewery in town, Ellsworth Brewery, they make a Kalamata Kraken for us, which is a wheat beer using our Kalamata leaves in their wort, so it's pretty cool. So you won't go home hungry.
You need a to-go box.
Yeah, and you know, my wife has expanded her little area. She does a whole bunch of bath and body products under the brand name Olive Spa.
So when people come out here to the Queen Creek Olive Mill and they see the Olive Spa, Amanda, tell us about the Olive Spa.
Okay, so this is something that I created probably about 10 years ago. I started in my home, and we now make our products right here. We make olive oil skincare products, and we use all natural ingredients.
People need to know that when they come to Arizona, dry skin is a deal.
Oh yeah.
The sun does damage. And so they've got to take care of themselves while they're out here at spring training games, and you're able to do that here with some of your products, I would imagine.
For sure, our body oils, our body butters, they're all very moisturizing, and there's nothing bad in them, so you can feel free to use as much as you like.
Tour is fantastic too. If you really want to understand everything about olive oil, nutritional stuff, the history of our company, the history of olive oil in the world, it's a good little tour. We used to hand harvest all of our olives, but now we can't find people to hand harvest, so...
Don't look at me, I'm 6'8", I can reach it.
And so all of our groves are planted in a hedgerow. So what happens is this big monster right here will go over the hedgerow. If you look inside, you can see these vibrating rods, and these rods will vibrate, and they'll harvest the olives. So then they'll come here, then they'll drop into this wash. This is a big washing machine. They'll wash the olives, and then from here travel up into the building. The olives will come through the building, and they'll go into this crusher.
Okay.
And we're going to crush the olives. Total, everything, the seed, the pit, and also the fruit, the meat of the olive. It's going to drop into these malaxers, and this is the paste, and we're just kind of massaging it very, very slowly.
Oh yeah.
Okay, for about 35 minutes at a regulated temperature, because it's got to be cold pressed, right? And then from here, it'll go to the centrifuge, and the centrifuge will extract the oil from the water and the solids, and from here, the olive oil will come right up here. And that's it. We're done. By the time the olive drops into that washer outside,
right,
to here is about 35 minutes.
You ever just become mad scientist still? You still just
I am the mad scientist.
Yeah.
I have all the fun. I put together all of the oils. I decide how I want to do it. You know, all the recipes. This year, for the first time, we're doing a 100% estate oil. So of the you know, approximately 10,000 trees, we're going to do an estate oil, which is estate harvested, estate made, and estate bottled here, 100%. I just think that you got to understand that when you come to the olive mill, it is an experience. It is a destination. You know, we're not an olive oil company. We are agritourism, and I think that's the thing that people will really take away when they come to the olive mill.
Coming up, Don't Watch on an Empty Stomach. Eats with Eliav is coming up next.
When I started to compete, they told me I should stop. When I came in dead last, they told me I should stop. When colleges didn't recruit me, they told me I should stop. What they didn't know is that I am unstoppable.
CAA champion, Anthony Robles.
Let us help you be unstoppable with your financial goals at desertfinancial.com.
The Valley of the Sun will roar to life this spring. Why is that, you may ask? Because NASCAR is coming to Phoenix, and it's going to be a weekend of good vibes the whole family won't forget. Get your tickets now at phoenixraceway.com.
The Auction Indian community and Troon Golf invite you to tee up a pure golf experience at Auction Southern Dunes Golf Club. Ranked by Golf Magazine as the 5th best golf course you can play in Arizona, Southern Dunes is known for spectacular customer service, a championship layout, premier course conditions, and a relaxed atmosphere the moment you drive down the front entrance. Check out the short course #Mini Dunes or dine at the Arroyo Grill. Auction Southern Dunes Golf Club, a pure golf experience.
Let's talk about Venezia's Pizzeria, New York style pizza. Oh man, this looks so good. Pizza doughs made fresh daily, wings, subs, sandwiches, pasta. They cater, they deliver. They have 5 Valley locations. Venezia's New York style pizzeria.
Nothing brings people and families together faster than sharing food. Great friends, memories, and good times. For over 2 generations, Valle Luna has served you the food that brought you together, and we've been proud to do so. We're fortunate to have been a part of so many stories, gatherings, and traditions that continue on today and will tomorrow. Start a tradition of your own. Come taste authentic Sonoran-style food with your family and friends here with us at Valle Luna.
The Valley of the Sun will roar to life this spring. Why is that, you may ask? Because NASCAR is coming to Phoenix, and it's going to be a weekend of good vibes the whole family won't forget. Get your tickets now at phoenixraceway.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are in Goodyear at the award-winning Saddle Mountain Brewing Company, and joining me is owner Laura Hansen. And Laura, quite the setup you have here, huh?
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Actually, when I first went to apply to have a brewery in Goodyear, Arizona, they weren't allowed. It took about 9 months. They rewrote some rules and then allowed for breweries. So the city was really kind in helping us get the first brewery in Goodyear, Arizona, actually.
Well, there's Kareem, there's Shaq, and there's Laura, changing rules around here. Now, for the less experienced beer drinkers like myself, can you give us some tips as to what pairs with what as far as the food and beer combos?
I can do my best for you.
Okay.
So this burger right here is our bison burger. It has a lovely horseradish cream sauce in it, which gives it a little bit of kick. We like to pair it with an IPA. This is our What That Hazy Do IPA. And then we have our Irish egg rolls. And of course, we're gonna pair our Scottish ale with that. Same region of the world, right? But this is the one that has won many awards. Now, who doesn't love pizza and beer, right?
Yeah.
So this is our Italiano pizza, and I'm basically going to suggest 2 concepts of beer with that: strawberry creamed ale, and then we have Warhawk, which is a non-strawberry creamed ale. It's still very light, very refreshing.
Now we're going to find out a little more about how this beer is made on site. Anthony, for those who don't know, what's the process of actually brewing this beer?
Well, if we could just break it down to a real basic fundamental standpoint, we essentially start with malted barley. We're gonna crush it up. Then it's gonna go into this large vat right here, which is called a mash tun. In there, it gets mixed with hot water, and there's some enzymes that are gonna start breaking down the starches into sugar. Here in the boil kettle, that's where we're gonna boil our wort, that's what we call it. We're gonna add our hops, which add bitterness, flavor. It's also a natural preservative. To be considered beer, you have to have 4 ingredients: water, hops, barley, and yeast. During the fermentation, CO2 and alcohol being the byproduct, we get beer that comes out like this, and this is nowhere near ready. Once it's kind of done fermenting, there's no more food for the yeast to eat. That's when we turn it down to 32 degrees and let it chill out for a couple weeks.
If you're coming to Goodyear to watch the Reds or the Guardians, make sure you stop by Saddle Mountain Brewing Company and say hi to my guy Anthony for me, all right?
That'll do it for this week, and if we haven't convinced you, go ahead, book the flight, come on into Arizona, and check out all that Cactus League has to offer. Have a great week.
Let's talk about Venezia's Pizzeria. New York style pizza. Oh man, this looks so good. Pizza doughs made fresh daily, wings, subs, sandwiches, pasta. They cater, they deliver. They have 5 Valley locations. Venezia's New York style pizzeria.
The Valley of the Sun will roar to life this spring.
This ought to get pretty wild here.
Why is that, you may ask? Because NASCAR is coming to Phoenix, and it's going to be a weekend of good vibes the whole family won't forget. The best-in-class fan experience meets racing's toughest drivers for 3 days of action on and off the track, all surrounded by the beautiful Estrella Mountains.
Oh yeah, baby! Let's go!
Get your tickets now at phoenixraceway.com.
Nothing brings people and families together faster than sharing food. Great friends, memories, and good times. For over 2 generations, Valle Luna has served you the food that brought you together, and we've been proud to do so. We're fortunate to have been a part of so many stories, gatherings, and traditions that continue on today and will tomorrow. Start a tradition of your own. Come taste authentic Sonoran-style food with your family and friends here with us at Valle Luna.